All right, good evening, peeps. It is Saturday evening, May 30th, 2015, approximately somewhere between 10:15, 10:30 p.m. Sitting out here, family conversation, talking with family, and decided to interview the God, Abdul. We're dealing with these relationships, 2015 relationships, really the millennium relationships. We need to know what's going on. I want to know his experience and his vast area of knowledge, how that can be tied into the mental and what's going on with the decisions being made with young people and their relationships today versus relationships maybe say 20, 30 years ago.
Come on, KK. Ah.
Just hit pause, Nick.
Okay, God.
That's distracting, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you was gonna turn that on. Okay.
All right.
Now,
Go ahead.
we have, I'm gonna throw out some topics to see if we can deal with in relationships. Right now we have side chicks, and girls are okay being side chicks. They out in the open being side chicks. You have guys now that appear to be more emotional than females in these relationships. We'll start off with those two topics. I'm sure they'll take us somewhere.
Well, I mean, when you look at the construct of relationships these days, it's one-sided in the household. I mean, a lot of guys are not taking responsibility and staying in the household. So, of course, there's consequences and ramifications behind a one-parent household. I mean, you only get one side of it. So children are known to emulate what they see. So, of course, they're gonna reflect on the emotions and the actions of the woman because that's all they see. So a lot of times our men are more, I would say, more prone to act out emotionally. Women are emotional creatures. They respond to their emotions. Men are more egotistical. So when you mix ego with emotion,
All right, mixing ego and emotion.
that becomes cataclysmic. You can't function unless you have polarity in a relationship where you have masculine energies and feminine energies attempting to correspond and exist at the same time. You got to have balance. And that's not what we're getting these days. We're not getting balance at all.
Now you say balance. That is absolutely so key because the first thing I thought about is most of the time women right now are being accused of being imbalanced. But that ties right into what you're saying, like in single parent households, she's trying to shoulder two roles. So you have an imbalance of the woman trying to shoulder two roles, but then you have the imbalance of the man that where he's trying to actually put it all on her, but then at the same time say it's not on her. He may verbally say, well, it's not all on you. I'm here, I'm helping out, but you're not actually present. And I think that is contributing to what we're dealing with. You have some men that would say, well, my mama raised me by herself and look how I turned out. But I guess to be appropriate for listening audiences, but you pretty much are a jackass to a certain degree. But at the same time, you have some women that raise men by themselves, and then the men tend to be better than than a boy raised in a two-parent household, in other words. So it's all kind of imbalances there.
I mean, I want to build on that situation because, I mean, a brother such as myself, I mean, I don't mind coming to a situation or circumstance whereas the woman has children, I mean, especially a son. However, you can't expect me to raise your son to your particular standard. You know what I'm saying? A woman can't tell me. You can't give me a guideline on how to be a man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can't understand our thinking. You don't understand our egos. You don't
Right.
understand how we have to respond to certain type of egotism and kind of have to control that. So it doesn't get out of control. We're egotistical beings as men. And as an example, I remember years ago I was egotistical enough to say that, hey, if my daughter's mom is not having a sexual relationship with me, then there's no reason for me to respond to the responsibility of taking care of my child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's ego. You know what I mean? I wasn't getting nothing out of the deal from what I was able to see. But once I stepped outside of that and I grew, then I realized that I was, you know what I'm saying, I was dysfunctional. It was a misappropriation of thoughts. You know what I mean? But it's difficult when you walk into a household these days, me being a brother that's, you know, in search of marriage and the family is already there and you come in and you play your role, the women already have a preconceived idea on what a man role should be.
Yes.
Write a script for me.
Yes.
You
Yes.
have
Yes.
expectations for me to come in and play a role in your show.
Right. Right. Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
If you're gonna allow me to raise your child as a man, to be a man, understand there's gonna be some things that we're gonna be thinking in a different frequency as men than what a woman is gonna comprehend
Right.
at that particular time. But they want to have a certain standard for you to abide by. That's not being a man.
And you know what? I see on that right there, that is a pet peeve of mine as a woman, and I want to deal with young black women in particular, but all women in general, because society is playing a role in it. Society, somebody else is telling them how they're supposed to perceive what a man is supposed to be, because they really don't have their own. Somebody else is feeding it to them, whether it be music or whether it be media, whether it be where my church said this or whether my temple said it's supposed to be like this. Somebody else is actually telling. How many women have you actually come across that actually think for themselves? Somebody else is telling them how it's supposed to be. Well, you know, your man is supposed to do this. As a man, he's supposed to do this. My thing is trying to get women to actually think for themselves and what her own role is supposed to be. Because somebody else is telling her what a man is supposed to be. She doesn't really know. You have to think about where we live and how we're coming up. Who actually knows what the roles are and how you're going to live those roles out? So I'm going to impose what I personally believe on everybody I encounter. So as soon as a man encounters my aura, I'm going to impose on him my own beliefs that actually somebody else gave me. I don't even know what my own beliefs are, what they should be, because I haven't studied for myself. When we're dealing with the natural order of things, I was actually speaking with my daughter Isis about the natural order of things and how when the wind blows, the trees they bend, and that's what makes us different than the animals, because they're doing what they're supposed to do. We are the ones that's human in search of and trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing.
That's what's up. I mean, you know, however that thing, you know, is perceived in the mind of an individual, you got to realize that, compromise. We can have expectations, but, you know, we two people trying to occupy the same space at the same time, and, you know, that's almost, it's definitely against the laws of physics. However, you can coexist, you know what I'm saying, by traveling parallel down a path instead of trying to contrast each other's position. Just like I said in the videos before, if love is there, you're unhappy with the situation, love should be strong enough to change the situation. You know, like I say, egos of the male, femininity, behavior for males is unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely unacceptable. We're weak. You know what I mean? We're not providing jobs for our women. You know, we're not offering them any type of solutions to their issue. We're not providing a circumstance or a situation for our children to be brought up in a conducive